Hello, and thank you for tuning into this roundtable with Loyalty Lion, Okendo, ShipBob, and Recharge. We're here today to talk about the post-purchase experience and more specifically how you can make changes to your own post-purchase experience to actually drive brand loyalty. I think so often brands get caught up in actually prioritizing just driving purchases and getting them through the door. So this all-important part of the process can sometimes get a little bit left behind. So we're here to make sure that doesn't happen. So without further ado, let's do some intros. I'm Chris. I'm a senior account executive at Loyalty Lion. I help merchants from all over the world build loyalty and retention strategies that lead to a more profitable, longer lasting relationship with their customers. We'll kick over to Gabrielle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gabrielle, Gab for short. I am with Okendo. We're a customer marketing platform that help brands to collect more information from their customers. So I help brands create a best-in-class marketing stack.
Nice. And Krista?
Hi, everyone. I'm Krista. I am with ShipBob. I'm the technology partner manager here, and we offer global fulfillment, so direct-to-consumer fulfillment, B2B, and we also offer a warehouse management software as well.
Nice. And Christy?
Hi, everyone. I'm Christy. I'm a senior product marketing manager at Recharge Payments. For those of you who are not familiar with Recharge, we're a subscription management platform that helps businesses turn one-time buyers into loyal repeat customers. So we make it easy for customers to manage their subscription, subscribe, buy again, try new products, and the whole subscription experience.
Nice. Well, big fan of everyone here. So, and it's totally not going to get confusing that we've got pretty much three Chris's on the call as well. So we'll try and keep that as we can. So yeah, I'm going to kick off with some questions, and then we've got some quick fire questions for us all a bit later on. So we'll start with an easy one. So let's talk about brands that really get the post-purchase experience right. So I'd be interested to hear, I think from you, Christy, first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really love the post-purchase experience from Oatly. If those of you who are not familiar, it's an oat milk brand, and they really bring their brand voice into every single touch point, and they communicate at moments that really matter to me as a consumer. Like when my order is out for delivery, they have a really fun, punchy email that they send. And even when you cancel your subscription, they have a really nice email that goes out that kind of makes you feel warm and like you don't mind keeping the relationship with them. Their brand is fun, it's unique, and it reminds me why I buy directly from them versus going to the grocery store down the street to buy my oat milk.
Nice. Yeah, I actually bought some at the weekend. Yeah, so got a new fan there. Any other brands out there? What about from Okendo's perspective?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Feastables experience. For those of you who don't know Feastables, they're a chocolate brand started by a YouTube influencer called Mr. Beast. And very interestingly, Feastables has been able to really use data to drive all of their decisions and all of the work that they do. So they're using like NPS surveys, for example, not just simply asking a question on, how did somebody enjoy the experience, but using the data as like strategic insights to really kind of prove validation of initiatives like coupon usage or things like that. We recently had the head of CX on a webinar and she was talking about her power of contextual targeting, being able to ask certain questions to certain customers at certain times to really kind of maximize that insight generation. You really only are as good as your ability to action on this data, and Feastables has really been able to kind of close that gap to make sure that not only they're getting purchases, but they're getting as much data and information from the customer as possible to kind of ensure future repeat purchases as well.
I really like that. There's two things in there that we really push in terms of successful loyalty programs, especially in terms of getting the data and being much more one-to-one and personal with communications. And then it's that kind of right message at the right time and talking to customers as individuals as opposed to just batch blasting out communications as well. And I imagine, Krista, you're seeing some really cool stuff with people doing, especially as part of packaging experiences and everything.
Totally. Yeah. One brand that sticks out a lot is Bowie. They sell personal care items, some cleansing items like toothbrushes, things of that nature. But they do a few different things in their post-purchase experience that really stand out. One of them being sustainable messaging. So more than ever before, customers are concerned with how shipping can impact the environment. And so brands that focus on green e-commerce really do have that competitive edge. But not only are they using this messaging on their packaging, so they have very memorable packaging. They use our partner no issue for eco-friendly mailers that are 100% compostable, and it actually says that right on the package. So when you're getting that in the mail, you can feel good that they're doing their part. So it's getting their message across, but also just leaves an unforgettable unboxing experience and a good way to get the brand out there as well. It stands out from like the typical Amazon white mailer or brown boxes. So they're really unique and speak to the end customer. And then one other thing they do is they have a unique subscription option. So they actually send, instead of doing a monthly subscription where people are like a little overwhelmed with the amount of product, they do a yearly subscription option. So this is super customizable to the customer. They'll only send exactly the amount that they want. And it just really drives back to their mission of being sustainable, but also keeps their customers happy and feeling thought of.
I wasn't going to name and shame, but you said it exactly, that the piece of Amazon where you order the tiniest item and it comes in the biggest box with the most ridiculous packaging. And I just think, why has this happened? So yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that sustainability piece for sure. So I really like that. I'll check them out. Cool. Let's go on to our next question. So I think this is just really understanding, well, why is the post-purchase experience important, and why is it vital for us to nail this to get customers to return, thinking about that from a retention angle. Yeah, I mean, interested to hear probably from you, Gabrielle, first.
Yeah, the post-purchase experience is it's a very interesting time to be able to collect zero-party data and feedback from your customer, right? Like to collect this zero-party data is to learn about the product and to learn about your customers and their buying habits, their consumption habits, and their personal preferences. And this data feedback loop is really crucial because if you want people to return, and most customers are expecting personalization as like that default standard of engagement. So if you're able to understand more about the customer experience, figure out gaps or ways to improve to really deliver that ultimate experience via questions such as NPS, personality types, abandoned carts is why didn't you end up creating a purchase? Or even if you see that many people who have dry skin are not liking a specific moisturizer that you have, then perhaps that's a really good way to determine your product innovation and make a product that would actually serve those people. So that data feedback loop and better customer experience will really be able to keep people coming back to shop with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, data is just king, isn't it, in this day and age? If you're not sort of basing any decisions based on that, then you're just kind of shooting in the dark a little bit. So if customers aren't coming back, then we should think about, well, why is that, and actually get some feedback from them. Krista, I bet you see some quite interesting things, especially from where shipping experiences might go wrong, or just in terms of really getting that bit right.
Yeah, totally. The shipping experience is super important part of the post-purchase experience because it impacts both sales conversions, but also customer retention heavily. The shipping period is a period of high distrust. A lot can go wrong. And so it can really make or break a customer relationship. So you want to be able to interact with the customers throughout this part of the post-purchase experience. If you can maintain a positive shipping experience, then you can earn their trust and customers will come back. You can also utilize the shipping experience to increase conversions. The shipping experience begins on the website when they get to check out and see what their shipping options are. So being able to provide fast and affordable shipping can significantly increase purchase rates. So many brands use desirable shipping options as a marketing tool. Like at the top, you sometimes see it like free shipping. There's a banner or maybe a free shipping threshold. You see that all the time where you reach a certain dollar amount and you'll get free shipping, which customers really appreciate. And if you follow through on that shipping promise, then that will drive retention overall.
Yeah, I liked what you said there about trust. I think for me as a shopper, that's such a huge element, and especially in terms of shipping. There are certain shipping suppliers out there that I don't trust because I've had too many bad experiences with. So in terms of building loyalty, it really does play a big factor, and then that kind of reflects on the retailer and the whole experience.
And now we can see the shipping promise before we even get to the checkout. It's like right on that product page. So being able to really follow through with that just speaks volumes for customers. Yeah,
definitely. And then I think, I always suggest to merchants to build that into their overall loyalty strategy, especially around higher tier customers having shipping experiences and upgraded shipping options as part of their tier strategy, for example, because ultimately then there's still, you've still got a consideration from a margin perspective, sure, but then it's lessened in terms of impact because those customers have got high lifetime value. So if you can keep them coming back and you retain more of them, it's worth the trade-off.
Totally.
Sure. Christy, what about you, especially from a subscription angle?
Yeah, to round us all out, I mean, we talked about setting expectations clearly and personalization, but customers really aren't making decisions based solely on product or price anymore. They really are considering the full end-to-end customer experience in these purchases. And in the subscription space, we're building a relationship, right? And the direct-to-consumer space is so crowded and there's so much competition. So it's really easy for a customer to lose trust in your brand because of a poor experience and just move on to the next best thing. So I think it's really important to get crystal clear on your value proposition so you can communicate that across all your touch points every time someone interacts with your brand through a subscription. And I really think it's also important to go look at your competitors, understand who your competitors are, and really ensure your messaging is differentiated. So when a shopper is comparing or thinking about other options, they know exactly why they should be going with your brand.
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking to someone recently actually that was talking about a subscription experience, and I said, well, what is kind of preventing what would prevent a customer from cancelling and from churning from your subscription? And the only thing they were really thinking about was just a simple 10% subscribe and save kind of thing. And I think so much of it is based around the experience. What are they getting in return for their subscription? Is it free shipping? Is it upgraded shipping? Is it a higher concierge almost style sort of subscription? Are you getting sort of early access? And then what is the overall experience? Like you said, not just on price, because if they could find a better price somewhere else, then they'll just go cancel that subscription. And then our next question is about the communication piece, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit already, but what would you guys say is the most important, let's say essential information to share with customers once they've made that purchase? Krista, do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure. Clear communication will help set expectations and retain new customers, especially in the current climate of high distrust. Again, shipping is a time where customer experience can go wrong. And so you really want to communicate with customers as much as you can during that time period. So managing customer expectations with clear delivery information and honestly over communicating, which can help build trust with customers. We actually have direct integrations with Klaviyo and Gorgeous, which essentially connects our shipping data with their communications platforms to give customers the most up-to-date information on their order. So we can let customers know when their order has been received by the warehouse, when it's been picked and packed, awaiting carrier, out for delivery, delivered, or even if it's delayed, you want to let the customer know. So, and your customer might not always understand the difference between maybe a shipping time and a processing time or something like that. So being able to really communicate that up front when a product is going to leave the warehouse and when they should expect it at their door, really to be just being like proactive with that information, never leaving the customer wondering what's going on with their order, never giving them a chance to really reach out to the brand asking what's going on with their order, and just really over communicating every step of the way. Even if it's like not the best news, like, hey, your order's delayed due to weather, as at least you're sending that, letting them know, and they're aware instead of like, hey, that was supposed to come today, I wonder where it is, and they have to go figure that out themselves. So just really over communicating and being proactive throughout the whole shipping process.
I think if anywhere, that's the area that you want to over communicate. If there are delays or anything,
No one's
that,
going to be mad about that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're going to be more mad if you don't get told, and it comes to the day of delivery, and you wait in, or you think, oh, okay, where is this? And you're looking outside, and you look forlornly as the delivery driver drives away, kind of thing, and you're just like, oh, well, that's kind of put a dampener on my day. But yeah, I absolutely agree with that. The more information that you can send out, the better. Tracking links, updates, the more the merrier. Christy, what about you?
Yeah, I think my best advice when it comes to communication is giving subscribers more control over their subscriptions. They'll stay around longer if they can skip, if they can swap, if they can upgrade, if they can add on, if they could change their delivery date or frequency. I think this is really important to also communicate at many touch points. People have a lot of subscriptions. They're busy in their day-to-day lives. They forget that they have these tools and the flexibility in their subscription. So continuing to communicate that every touch point is really important, because it continues to remind them why they subscribe to your product, and also gives into that really nice customer experience where they don't feel trapped with the subscription.
Do you see people communicating before the next subscription is going out to give customers that kind of flexibility or option to cancel?
Yep. And it seems counterintuitive, right? To communicate and give an opportunity for someone to reschedule or cancel or delay their shipment, but it actually leads to a higher retention rate. When people don't feel trapped, they're not returning or reversing a charge. They're trusting you. You're building trust with them. That relationship is growing. And we actually see that those customers have higher LTV because they have the customers that interact with the skipping and the swapping and upgrading and things like that. They stick around for much longer because they're utilizing all the tools and they feel like they have control over their relationship with your brand.
Yeah, it's a trust thing, isn't it? It seems a bit sneaky somewhat if you don't communicate to customers that you're about to take a payment or their subscription's coming out. Like Kindle, for instance, or those other that you set and forget a subscription, and you think, oh, you look at your bank statement, another £10 has gone out, and you think, well, I might as well use it now for this month. But I kind of prefer to know about that coming up.
And people's lifestyles change so much, right? You could be laying off the coffee for a little bit and you want to delay your shipment or skip it. So it doesn't mean that they're not seeing satisfaction with your product. It might be that they're on a vacation or they're trying to cut back on coffee or something like that. And so the flexibility is key for lifestyle as well.
I don't know what you mean by cut back on coffee. I've definitely had about 4 cups today. But,
I'm not cutting back on coffee.
Gabby, anything you'd throw in there?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, like, with all of the communications that you're doing, everything really should be personalized, right? If you're collecting all of this information about your customers, then you have the ability to personalize each further communication based on what you know, because all of these touch points matter. So, continually ask for feedback, ask for, contextually relevant information. So that way you can understand, like, how to directly speak to your customer. So that way they are more likely to come back, because that personalization is the default standard of engagement at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd throw in there, if you've got a loyalty program set up already, obviously you want to be throwing in how many points did they get on that purchase? Did they unlock any rewards? Have they got things that you can kind of, use as an incentive to pull them back, and hooks that we can then get them to make that all important second purchase as well? And that might be, okay, you have a points approval period for 7 days, 14 days. After that time period, the points to hit their account, then you send them another email communication touch point to get them come back, seeing the rewards that they've got potentially unlocked at that point. So yeah, lots we can do there, and we'll hear more from Clavio and Gorgeous actually later on. So stick around for those sessions. Cool. We're going to do a quick fire round now. So I've got a question for you each, specific to your areas of expertise. So Gabby, we're going to go back to you first. So this one is, what do I do if a customer leaves my brand a bad review?
That's a great question. We get asked this all the time. The answer is yes, you should publish your negative reviews and you should respond back to them. We find that negative reviews have a positive impact because they help establish trust and authenticity if you're able to reach back to your customer who had a negative experience, turn it around, reply to them publicly, and kind of turn it into a positive experience. And then on that note as well, you're, as a brand, you're always in need of a solution to have your pulse on customer loyalty and uncover those loyalty drivers. So regardless of bad reviews or not, you should also always be monitoring your customer satisfaction, NPS, CES, CSAT, just to monitor that sentiment and identify areas of improvement. So that way you get less bad reviews, or you know what to do and you have that game plan when something like that comes in, because those incremental improvements really go a long way to kind of increase your customer lifetime value and drive more revenue to the brand.
Out of interest, do you find that a lot of customers, or there's a more trust element in maybe the 3 and 4 star reviews as opposed to the margins?
Yeah, absolutely. So we find that purchase likelihood peaks around 4.2 to 4.5 stars in terms of average rating. Where we as consumers are very smart. There's no such thing as a 5-star anything. But we want to make sure that the reviews that are displayed and the content that is displayed is helpful. So those negative reviews that describe like maybe a shortcoming with the product itself or the packaging are better to be displayed to then show that ultimate experience, rather than somebody who left a review and said, oh, the shipping was delayed, right? That one might not give constructive information about that product. But long story short, yes, we do find that the ratings of 4.2 to 4.5 stars is really where that purchase likelihood peaks. Anything below that might be a little low.
Yeah, I tend to discount the 1 stars and the 5 stars, and then maybe look around at the 2s, the 3s, the 4s kind of thing to actually get a bit more of an impression of what's kind of going on there. And you mentioned the delivery piece, so we'll go to you, Krista. So what do we do, or what should I do if a customer's package is really delayed or even lost?
Yeah, definitely. So again, this is where over communication is going to be key. By staying on top of shipping alerts, you can let the customer decide when they no longer want to wait on an order to arrive, and they can begin the process of returns or exchanges. Just really empowering them with as much information as possible. You let them control their next step rather than them waiting for a package that might never show up. And so I know Christy touched on this. This also goes for subscriptions, like letting customers control their next step. Our customer Pet Labs does this great as well, reaching out, asking them if they're ready for their next order, want to skip. Again, all communication is good communication. So even if you're letting the customer know if their order is delayed, people appreciate that, and they appreciate the proactive communication and not leaving them hanging.
Yeah, definitely would like that. And since you mentioned subscriptions, so Christy, what do I do if a customer wants to cancel their subscription because of a bad customer experience?
It's a great question. And we hear this one a lot too. So a couple of things here. Number one, as we've discussed, providing that flexibility to your customers to manage their own subscription is really, really important. We like to say that subscription flexibility leads to subscriber stability. This means allowing your customers to skip, swap, delay, add on to their subscription. This prevents a lot of churn right out the gate. But there's obviously plenty of times where customers do want to cancel. So if a customer does cancel, it's really, really important to capture a cancellation reason. So you can either save the customer with an offer or an educational prompt, or you can drop them into some sort of marketing nurture campaign. So you could maybe get them to resubscribe at some point. I also will say, when you're looking at these cancellation reasons, they can be a really, really good place for you to go to optimize. So if you see a lot of people are canceling because they have too much product, maybe you consider adding additional frequencies. Or if you see people say that they didn't know they started a subscription, go through your flow and make sure it's really obvious that they're starting a subscription and they're subscribing to your product. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to use this data to optimize and to grow your product and your brand.
That's a really interesting point about the too much product piece. There was a brand that I was working with once upon a time that they had that exact thing, and a lot of it was because people weren't necessarily educated on the benefits. It was a vitamins company, and they found that people weren't sort of taking the required amount of products. So we worked on building kind of more brand engagement up front through incentivizing different actions, incentivizing reading blog posts, etc., to learn more about the product, which then to lead to subscription stickiness, which I thought was quite a cool tie into that. And I've got a question for myself, so I'm going to ask myself a question. What should I do if no one is signing up to my loyalty program? So we get this quite a bit when we speak to brands that are maybe using a loyalty program, they're not particularly satisfied with the results that they're seeing. And they're not, when we dive into it, we find, oh, well, actually not many people are enrolling and signing up. So I always say, well, think about your post-purchase touch points. Can you better communicate why someone should sign up in the emails that you send them as they check out as a guest? Can we convert more of those guest shoppers into account holders? We know that that's going to lead to so much better retention. Do you offer them points on those purchases that they would have got if had they signed up? And can you apply those kind of retrospectively and communicate that to say, okay, you didn't sign up as a guest right now, but all is not lost. If you sign up now, we'll give you those points that you would have got on that purchase. The other thing is then thinking about, are you actually embedding your program across different social media touch points? So a brand that I launched with recently, they did an Instagram highlights reel and saved it as a highlights on their story to explain the program and just embedding it across everything, or even having a kind of a printout, a little flyer that goes into the packaging, so that when someone unboxes it, maybe they can scan a QR code that takes them to the loyalty page, so they can then sign up from there, which I think is quite a nice thing. I've seen that done before. Or even simpler, do you just want to offer more points for signing up and creating an account? That might be a simple place to start as well. I think that's more or less all we've unfortunately got time for today. So I want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys, so our partners Recharge, Okendo, and ShipBob. If you want to find out any more information from our panelists, you can head to the sponsors section. You can get in touch with any of them from there. If you all head back to the agenda, you can meet us in our next session, where we're actually going to be talking to one of our customers, Hat Heaven, about the ins and outs of their loyalty program and how they've turned their loyalty program into a really strong revenue stream. And if you aren't having any trouble navigating between sessions, you can reach out to us at marketing@loyaltyline.com. So thank you very much. See you later.